Hey folks, let's quickly get some items off the desk before I embark on creating a bigger mess, which is something I do every night. Alrighty. So as you can see, we are back up and alive, and we have all the things going on. Yep, yep, that works. That was a bit of a disaster last night. Basically, what happens, it seems like the latest Ubuntu 2104, it's using kernel 5, I think it's 5.11 or something like that. Anyway, it does not like multiple USB 3 hubs. For some reason, when you have multiple USB 3 hubs, or controllers or whatever, it just freaks out and can't seem to process things properly. I don't know the technical details. All I know is I rolled back to 2004 LTS and things are running again. So looks like we're going to be sticking with that until I get myself an HDMI capture card. So given that that's $1,000, I think we'll be sticking with that for a little bit of time yet. Can't afford to go just throwing $1,000 around willy-nilly. Got to be a little bit conservative with the state of affairs currently. Alright. And you're right, Stuart, yes, no matter how much I clean, it will end up messy, but I do at least try to I put a little bit of effort into it, even if it doesn't go very far. I just need to get a magnetic pad, because we're about to do an iPhone 11 Pro job. Okay, switch to the overhead. There may be issues throughout all this, and of course we don't have Jim's excellent 4K cam looking down at the moment. We've only got the Logitech 920. I won't be able to use Jim's contribution until I get myself that 1K $1,000 card. Like I said, it's just something that's going to have to wait. I've got a few other things that are taking the money at the moment, like tiles, painting, just things like that. And there are things that are needed, including the TV that we're buying, which we're still waiting on. It's unbelievable. It's like over 2 weeks now that we're waiting on this TV to arrive. Jim, I do hope you do get better soon, or at least manageable. Alright, so there you go. So this iPhone 11 Pro, the problem is that it is restarting every 30 seconds to a minute or so, but it only does it when it's sitting idle. If you're actively using it or the screen is on, it will not do it. So it's only while it's idle. So I suspect it's either the dock or it's the speaker type flex. Okay, now this being an iPhone 11, I really should actually heat up the assembly first. And it's considering it's pretty much brand spanking new. Var is the... Oh, there it is. Come on, out you come. Jim, I did. Thank you very much for the biltong. Gonna get fat and farty. Thank you very much, good sir. Fat and farty with a hint of truffle. Wait for that to heat up. And I'm doing iPads now, and I found the trick that works for me is I use this unit, but I leave it here and just turn it off when I flip the iPad over and cutting away, taking the screen off, and the residual heat that is in this unit keeps the iPad warmer for longer, and of course the surface is a little bit sticky, so it holds things for me. Hey, Victor Young. Victor, did you send through a job request? Because I had to decline that one based on the fact that it's coming out of France. I really just can't service that one, sorry. Okay. I will state now that I greatly hate doing this. I greatly hate having to open up devices that... And this thing's got a perfect fit on it too. Okay, there we go. Thank God it's not an iPhone 12. I probably lifted this up a little bit soon. As in I should have waited another minute for the heat soak. I can just sort of feel the glass is kind of worn, telling me, saying, buddy, that was a bit close. If we'd been having a bad day, we might have cracked for you. Okay. Reveal its glory. Yeah, Brian, I have to be the devil's advocate and say I actually don't mind the iPhones compared to some other phones. Alright. I just realised this is the first time I've ever opened an iPhone 11 Pro. I've opened up iPhone 11s, make sure I don't touch the Face ID crystal, or else I really will be upset, and the customer will be very upset at me. Let's get this heat pad out of the way. It has done its function for me. Andre, I think so. It depends on your climate, where you are. I just did it as an extra precaution, because having never done a Pro before. Right, YouTube's going to snare on that one. So let's see. One thing I do hate about these phones lately is that the layering of the shields and everything makes you have to disconnect things like the screen and all that sort of stuff before you can disconnect the battery, and I just don't like that. So I don't know if that's intentional or what, but it's certainly not a way I would do things. But then again, I guess I'm not an Apple engineer, so I guess I don't get to have a say. No scratch. Gotta have the no scratch. Yeah, I just don't like it because, it does mean there's activity, electrical activity, even though it is technically off. Oh, crikey, mate. Which one's the freaking dock assembly? I'm going to guess this is the dock assembly here. I'm not sure what that is. We're back to Ubuntu 20.0 LTS, 2004 LTS rather than 2104. Okay, I don't even know which one's which here. I can't see properly. Yeah, for as much as Apple phones are a pain in the butt to repair, they are still easier than a lot of the other models on the market. The same goes to the laptops. I mean, you only have to see some of the videos I have of other laptops to realize what a pain in the... Okay, so that's battery. Damn it, I did it. Son of a gun. The one time that I... Did that switch, by the way? Fortunately, this battery should be very much discharged at this point. Alright, so we do have battery, and then we have a combination for the dock flex. Hey Tane W, welcome. Why have they got the dock flex split into two? Okay. Anyway, we'll disconnect this one. Okay, there we go. Reconnect the battery. I'm going to be really mad if anything happens to that Face ID. Hey, from the ashes. Alright. Christian, it seems to be something that's popping up a bit more now. It seems to be showing up in the various forums that... Okay, I am not charging. Oh yeah, duh. Of course I'm not charging. Sorry. No money to whoever works out why I'm not charging. This is... just realised the battery is flat. I need the dock to charge, but I need to disconnect the dock to test. Yeah, Travis, I'm not looking forward to a 12. I see they have a few issues. Pardon me. Alright, so it is booting, but like I said, I'm going to have to power this off. And leave it aside for a few minutes so the battery charges up, and then I can do my test. It seems like a normal procedure around here. You get halfway through one job, and you got to go defer off to another job, because that's just the way it goes. Okay. I don't know how difficult replacing the dock will be on that. If I have to replace the dock, some of them are easy, some are really not. Let's see. Alright. Let's dig into my pile of trash. Any good model upgrade from 6S Plus? 8 Plus? I personally use the 7 Plus, but that doesn't mean diddly squat. I got lucky and it doesn't seem to have audio IC issues. Alright, I'm guessing this one's a dud because I've done rework on it, but it seems to have nevertheless ended back up into this pile, so that really should become donor, even though it's... This one looks like it could be the same. Donor. 451. This is the story of the board that worked for a little bit and then died. Donor. 472 donor. Very slow. I think this just needs a BIOS fix. This just needs a BIOS fix, so let's get that done. The only trouble is I don't know what serial number to use for it, to be honest. What happens if you have two laptops out there with the same serial number on the internet. Does that actually get detected or anything like that? Or is it a case that Apple really doesn't care? Yeah, Travis, I've been wondering that myself, to be honest. I mean, I'm still... The 7 clearly is a buttoned one, but I have a feeling I've got an XR, and the only reason why I haven't switched over to using the XR is because it's slightly smaller than the 7 Plus. By the way, I think I've got the color balance sorted out, at least with the webcams. I can't control the microscope camera, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't know what EFI number to use, not EFI, I don't know what serial number to use for this. So I might just flash it with an existing one. Hey, Flying Scar. Yeah, I realise this transfer board is pretty disgusting. But we're not here for good looks. If we were, I wouldn't be here. Oh my goodness, the nose is itchy. I had to take an antihistamine before I started the channel tonight. Oh yeah, that was... No, it actually does work now. Oh, optimized, you got a ton of dead machines, have you? Yeah, I suppose that's what I should be using. I really should be taking notice of the serial numbers. Got the rugged man look down. Oh, that's not the kind of look I want, really. I used to be so prim and proper. Luvian, it's the EFI chip, and it just has all the bits and pieces of information that whatever it needs. And the reason why I'm changing it is because something happened to it in a previous job, from what I can remember, and the data isn't quite right. So yeah, I just need to check that the board is okay by flashing it with one that does work. I just realised I won't have my history anymore. Ah, crap. And I just realised I don't even have the software installed. Damn it. Weird. Oh god, I don't even have any of my development tools on here. Oh my goodness. This is the drama because I basically started from scratch on this machine. I don't have any of my development tools already installed, so there's going to be a few of these hiccups this evening. Nick Vasey. Alright. What else do you want? What do you want? Lib USB 1. What is going on? What? I don't even have Git installed. Hey Harperman. We're just waiting on an iPhone 11 Pro that's doing a boot loop on me. Actually, it's not true. It doesn't boot loop. It does boot, but then if you let it sit around idle, it'll boot over and over and over until you start using it, and then it stays on. And then when you stop using it, it starts booting again. Git status. Git full. Yeah, it looks like they've done some updates. I think it might be better if I just start from scratch there. Let's see. Oh, I see. They've moved to GitLab now. Oh. It's better. Okay. What a drama. I thought I had BIOSes here. I genuinely thought I had BIOSes here. Let me just see. Plugin tool. Mount. Nope. Number 2. I'm doing this all very much the wrong way. Yeah, I did have BIOSes there. Yay, we've got BIOSes. That was more drama than we wanted. Just bear with me a second here. Just so you don't feel so alone. There you go. Every system has its pros and cons. You just got to decide which ones you want to live with. Nick, just that's a donor board. End of story. Unfortunately. Wow, I've only got one 3437 board there, and that's... Nope, 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 nope. Alright, I've got a bit of a problem there, in that all the ones that I have, which would be clean BIOSes, clean ME regions, they're all 165s and something else. I don't have a 3437 with a clean. Alright, I'll have to think about what I'm going to do with that. Let's check on that iPhone 11. Disconnect the battery, disconnect the dock. Ow, that's my fingernail. There we go. What the? Well, the apple came up for a flash and then it just disappeared on me. That was kind of weird. Alright, so... Wow, that didn't charge much at all. How long was that on there and it didn't charge for squat? I hate that these days they have taken away the charge percentage. That you can sometimes reactivate it in this right hand column pull down, but it's not showing up there. Unable to verify this phone has a genuine Apple battery. Weird. Wonder why. I haven't changed anything on that. Not sure why it would be complaining about that. Is there a second cable for the battery? Oh, there is. Oh yeah, by crikey, you're right. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Weird, I can't seem to turn it off. Alright, so would that second battery cable be coming up through here though, into this section? Because I'm just looking at the picture. I can see that one. I can't see where this one is. This one here. So I'm going to guess that one. I'm going to guess that they route it up here through that connector. I'm going to guess my guess is wrong. You can be, well, yeah, you don't really have to be that great at programming or anything to be a Linux user, but the difference is that um, it's, I think the biggest problem with Linux is that there are so many different variations and so many different quirks, and it changes every 6 months. Yeah, there's very little stability in the Linux realm. And so that's where I find things like Ubuntu are a small glimmer of hope in that respect for most people. Son of an SOB. And I think that's where macOS used to be nice, is that macOS with version 10 and whatnot, you were basically running on top of a Unix, well, you are running on top of a Unix kernel, and you have the ability to get down into it if you want, but then you had the very nice abstraction as a user if you didn't want to. Yeah, the LTS really, the only downside of the LTS, of course, is that when you do come around to the next LTS, 99% of the time you can't just roll forward. You can't just simply go, okay, let's move to the next one. You pretty much have to do a full strip and start again type thing, which, yeah, I'm not a great fan of from a user perspective. I think that's the kind of areas where macOS really does win a lot. I mean, the fact that you can seamlessly, for the most part, go to an entirely new operating system without changing any of your data or having to do anything. And the fact that they have things like Time Machine built in. And for as much as Windows tries, Windows backup still sucks terribly. It just, everything, even in the Unix world, pales in comparison to what we really would like. I think Time Machine and the way that macOS does its OS updates are two examples that the rest of the computing world should really take note of. Now I know that you have things like rsync for the Unix systems, and rsync is a fantastic differential backup system, and just the ability that with rsync you can back up your remote system from anywhere in the world over secure shell connection and onto your local system. That's some fantastically great power to have, but you still have to know how to use it. It needs to be wrapped up in a nice way as part of the operating system by default. Yeah, I'm going to let that charge for a bit longer. And with Windows, Windows backup, after all these years, come on, surely they could do a better job of that. And the fact that you can't even by default, at least with the Home Edition, you can't back up to a remotely mounted drive or anything like that. It's just annoying limitations after annoying limitations. Andre, you've yet to start using rsync for your servers. Depends on how you want to do it. But again, you have to do it by you have to do the scripting if you want to do differential backups, like every hour over the last 24 hours, every day over the last week, every week over the last month, every month over the last year. You can do that kind of staging, but you have to be the one that pretty much works out how you're going to make those scripts go. Alright, well, we're getting nowhere with this damned thing. Yeah, Miles, I'll agree with you on that with regards to unable to open app due to unidentified developer. It is very frustrating, yeah. Because as you said, as soon as people deal, if you're trying to get one of your customers or maybe someone in your support network to launch something for you and it doesn't want to, and then they're like, oh, so you're going to load some sort of crap onto my machine? And it's like, you're not helping. Okay, well, we've got to sort this out. We've got to find a 3437 clean ME. Let's see what I can find. 820. I could have sworn I had a few of them, but obviously not. Oh, wait, maybe I do know where they are. Sorry. Secure Shell X. I'm thinking they might be on my shared server. Hey Mark, welcome. Good to see you back. And hallelujah, I've got one. SCP-820. Oh, g'day IM6 Hills. We're breaking everything tonight. 820. Boo. Let me guess. I don't have Secure Shell running on this machine. God damn. What line is it? 461. Alright, this should hopefully just do the trick anyway. Yeah, Micro, he's sort of like holding steady. It's the vet's the one that really gets to determine what's going on, because she's the one that can check the state of his gums, as it were. Damn you. Now I've got to try and remember this off the top of my head. Okay, right, and what's the BIOS file we've got here? No programmer found. Ah, that's what I wanted. What chip is this? I never remember the names of these. 25Q064A. I'll do it. Oh, crikey. Sorry, folks. Gotta get used to the new system. ME was as bad as... Oh, no. ME was far worse than 24 LTS. Far worse. I would say, though, that Vista was worse than ME, in my opinion. But I guess it depended on what you used it for. Hey, ZX. La 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 la. Da 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 da. The ME was kind of like that. I was just sort of thinking, oh, yeah, ME, if you had to put a MacBook equivalent, would be the 1425. On the other hand, SE, Win98 SE2, was it SE2? That was actually a very nice release. That was quite stable, and it took me a long time to jump from that, and it probably was only by the time XP Service Pack 3 I think came out that I managed to migrate, or felt like migrating across. Vista was just, it was neither here, and 8 to be honest was not much better. But I think Vista was so bad that they had to bring 8 out just to show like they were doing something, but it was pretty much a premature release of 10. And certainly I think they got things right a lot more with 10. I mean, there are the various privacy issues and the inability to turn off a lot of things, but overall in terms of behavior, 10 seems to have actually become pretty good. But I see now that there's noises about they're bringing out something new and exciting again, which means we're going to go through the whole cycle once more. But yeah, 98 SE2 was an excellent release, and then XP Service Pack 3 I think was pretty good. But certainly it did take us again until Windows 10 before it was something that you could dependably deploy. Oh yeah, SE was second edition, my bad, sorry. I was doubling up there. Well, Christian, I mean, you're right, but yeah, Microsoft still should have policed it a little bit better. But I guess that's the problem with Windows versus Mac OS. Is Windows, they sort of say, well, it's up to you guys to make sure things run right. It's a bit like Android versus iOS. Hey Teresa, how's the Eclipse? I was watching it before I started here. Mikhail, you started on a 311. I didn't start deploying Windows until it was 311 WFG, Windows for Workgroups, or WFW. Uh, Although I mostly skirted on the outside for most of it because I pretty much went from DOS 6 to 11, 622 to 4DOS to OS2 and then straight to Linux. So Linux I picked up around about 95, along with FreeBSD and BSDI. The only reason I was doing anything with BSDI is because the um, what do you call it? The firewall for the corporation I was working for was BSDI. They paid a sweet amount of money for that, which was kind of funny because a few years later we just switched it over to a Linux IP table system and it was fine. I mean, it probably wasn't as secure, but for the most part, the greater security issue honestly was on the inside of the network, not on the outside. Alright, so that's programmed. Yeah, it was a full lunar eclipse. Obviously not a solar eclipse. Certainly not nighttime here. You'd have some real worries if you had a full solar eclipse present and visible at nighttime here. I wish I knew the name of the firewall system that we were using for with the BSDI system. But it was very expensive. But I did get to go to a bunch of courses, which basically meant I got lots of free lunches, lots of time away from work, travel, all that sort of, all the perks. And they would sit there and they would teach you about IP masks, addressing models, things like that, and you'd be like, yep, alright. Okay, why I'm at this course, and then you realise, oh, that's right, for the buffet. Hey, Steve. Alright, let's see how this one goes. Because believe me, the previous boot was painfully slow. Okay, brightness needs a bit of a push here. Just a little more, you think? Yeah, I think about that. I just need to get my 1466 box of goodies. Get ourselves a cheese head screw. And a body screw. And of course we need the flat flex. Hopefully this one's okay. I just noticed it's got a notch in it. We'll find out soon enough. Where's our chipmunks? And chipmunks. And our tester. macOS tester. Chipmunk. MagSafe. Hey, it actually shows up on screen. Thank goodness for that. Hey Pedro, welcome. How was your day running around as Mr. I Scam you? How many little old ladies did you put to the grave today? What was your favorite distro from the 90s? Would have been Slackware. But the biggest thing I had with Slackware was, after a while, particularly once we started getting more into the multimedia side of things with Linux, it was a major pain in the butt to build packages, because a lot of the time Slackware had a quirk in which way, where it put files, like user local versus user and things like that. That booted much faster than it was booting before, so we're on a good roll here. Overall, I like the Slackware philosophy, but unfortunately that key choice that he made, Patrick was his name? I think it was Patrick, way back at the start, ended up being the undoing. So I don't know whether these days they've reverted back to being a more Linux standard type layout, or whether he's still trotting along with the non-standard method. Okay, so SMC stuff seems to be okay. Let's see what it says about the Mac. And yeah, we do have that serial number. So that was a clean ME. Well, I actually don't know if it was a clean ME for it, but I guess if we let it run for 20 minutes, we'll find out. Hey, Sonny's here. Everybody say hello to Sonny. This is the Sonny indeed that saved Louis Rossmann from Eugene. And I don't know, have you done anything else worthwhile mentioning, Sonny? I'm sure you have. But you can be your own promoting agent here, and you can be funny if you want. Version 6 is around about when I left too, so I think I switched over to Ubuntu at around about 604 or 610 Ubuntu, so that means I've actually been on Ubuntu for about 14-15 years now. Let's see if this damn thing runs. Taught him how to drive. What? Sonny taught Lewis how to drive in a Tesla. Doesn't the Tesla just drive itself anyway? You never fixed my flexible review problem. I saw that, but honestly, I think, I mean, I somewhat agree with you, but at the same time, I don't agree with you. I don't know if there's enough of a market of people who can handle $250 price tag. Okay, this is running a bit slow, but I'm guessing it's the battery. So, but I did see that, Sonny, and I just haven't answered. Me not answering is my way of disagreeing with, with people. Very childish way of doing it. It's not a true disagreement. It's a let me think about it and find a diplomatic way. So it's kind of me just holding you back until I can find the appropriate stick to tell you no with. I'm very diplomatic like that. We should be able to just plug this in. This is a nice thing when you have your own boards and stuff. You can just do stuff you wouldn't normally do with customer machines. And there we go. We're up to 30 frames per second already. So adding the battery gives us our sudden boost. So it's all good and fine. So that board's basically fixed. The only downside is I haven't got a serial number for it. I could try and find the base plate for... no. But like I said, what would be the problem if you have two machines out there using the same serial number? Is that something that would happen? Is that something that could cause a conflict? You tell me. I don't know. I've never experienced it. I imagine that if you're trying to access the Apple Store, you probably would run into problems. Maybe iCloud locked, yeah, it could be something like that. At least in most cases, if I'm say doing a board replacement for a customer, I would take their serial number and then imprint it onto this. So we only had to get the BIOS, the EFI right for this so that we could actually just see if the board worked, and it does. The board works. We just now have to mark it so that we take a new serial number. I forgot to do the battery first, big whoop. So what are you doing here, Sonny, anyway, apart from coming here to kick me in the butt? I would have thought it'd be a bit early for you to be up and out of bed. I mean, what is it, like 6 o'clock in the morning in New York? My MacBook doesn't want to identify itself the serial numbers given by the factory. Is it a MacBook that you actually have? Or is it a PC with an Apple sticker on it? Putting Apple stickers on laptops doesn't make them Apple laptops. $8.35 on the East Coast. Okay, so you know it's not too bad. Okay, so that's fixed. My pen is drying out. Let's clean this up, and then we've got to get back to that iPhone and see what we can do. Now I'm going to need something more aggressive. See if I've got a pen that works. Hey, Oscar, welcome. I'm going to add this to my stockpile of boards at work that I can use if I don't feel like fixing someone's board. The only trouble with this one is it was a pretty low spec. Is the chip required for the A2159 yet? You know, the one that you ordered was the wrong part. Oh, that! It turned out I did have actually that part. And yes, the board is now working, but the screen doesn't work. I did have activity on the screen, and there's been coffee spill in it, and I cleaned out what coffee spill I could, but then after a while I no longer could even get any activity on the screen, so you know I couldn't even use a torch to see it. So I don't know what's happened there. I don't know whether I buggered something up when I was working on the board. You know, maybe a signal went through and buggered up the screen or what, but I plugged in a 1708 screen and it works perfectly fine with the board, so I'm guessing the screen is buggered, which is really unfortunate because essentially unless they don't want to have keyboard backlight, you know, that sort of thing, it really basically now has to go to the Apple store. So this is definitely one of the situations I would take the machine to the Apple Store, get them to replace the screen, and yeah, eat the cost. So I'll have to talk to the person that owns the machine and see what they want to do, because as far as I know, they bought it and it was supposed to be a simple fault, but unfortunately the coffee's all over the place. And like I said, I never really worked with this particular model before, so I genuinely am wondering whether I'm responsible for the screen failing, or in this case. Let's see, we've got it here. But yeah, it ended up being predominantly that 3.3 volt that was the problem, the regulator. So this is the machine here, and we replaced the 3.3 regulator, which is down here, and yeah, it works. If I plug this into HDMI, fantastic. But something's not right with the screen. I even checked the flexes to see maybe it was screen gate or something like that. I can't find a fault. So the screen did originally have some sort of backlight issue, and now it's just not working at all. What is weird though is that if I do boot it and plug in to the external, if I look at the displays, it does show both displays. So it is communicating with the display and knows it's there, but it just doesn't seem to do anything with it. So I'm actually going to plug it in now, in the very vague hope that, what the hell, that should not have been out on its own. I don't even know how that got out there on its own. That is weird. Yeah. Little cables like that should be securely protected. Oh, solder bridges here. Oh, jeez. Jim, it's a real shame that I can't be using your excellent camera at this point, but I will get there eventually, Jim. I will get that card, and it will be glorious, but we're just going to have to be patient. And at least once I've got that card, so long as I stay with 1080, then it should be great for a while. Unfortunately, I have been looking around for second-hand Magewell cards, and you really don't find them around. It's like no one wants to give up their Magewell cards, and quite frankly, I don't blame them. I'm just sort of vaguely hoping here that, like, by some kind of a miracle, this thing will actually give me back the display output so that I can use the torch to see it. But I think, like I said, I think I might end up, my guilt's going to make me, or my presumed guilt is going to make me say, look, have the fix for free, because I can't be guaranteeing that I wasn't the one that caused the screen to go from no backlight to no display. So it's 20 volts. Yeah, it's booting now. Before I used to be able to just tilt the display and I could just see the Apple logo, and now I can't see squat. So yeah, you can see the touch bar is active. So the machine is definitely running, and it does see the display, but it just doesn't do anything with the display. So I'm kind of thinking maybe something happened with the controller board. I don't think the panel itself is damaged, or maybe the backlights are damaged, but coffee got into the controller. That's my guess. Anyway, so yeah, that's the story on that one. Oscar, yes, I have, yeah. And yeah, I've been doing things like this Oscar, just at that small angle, and it doesn't come up at all. And like I said, it was at least before giving me the image, just no backlight, and now it's not giving me either of them. So the board's running, but the screen is cactus, it seems. ZX, I was doing that before. That's what I was saying, is that you could see it before with a torch, but you can't now. Now it's just flat blank. I actually spent several hours with it using the torch to make it so I could actually clean it, the drive, and reinstall it with a new system. And then shortly after that, it stopped working. Yep. Inject 50 volts on the backlight lines. Unfortunately, that doesn't work with these because the controller board controls whether that power goes through to the internal backlights or not. So even if you put 50 volts on the backlight line, it's not going to go through to the display itself. So let's check eBay for PCIe capture cards. I have seen PCIe capture cards on eBay, but they're all uncertain quality, as it were. Alright, so we've got one board fixed. We are not doing very good tonight. We're spending too much time chitty-chatting. That iPhone 11, we've got to sort that out. Okay, so this is... we're still at 1.7 amps charge. So I'm going to guess it's around about 30 to 40% maybe charge at this. Alright, so now if I just leave this, it will probably reboot. ZX is either a broken flex or it's a broken controller. Okay, that's just faded. It hasn't actually turned off yet. Just see if it pops up the Apple logo shortly. It's not the flex between the board and the screen either. I've replaced that, and it's the same behavior. Hey, Paul Marrow. Paul Marrow, there's only really two that I'm looking at, and that's the Magewell and the Ajar or AYAR 4-port one. The Black Magic, the generics, all that sort of stuff, I'm not really interested in them because I may as well just buy the right piece of equipment once. Come on. Come on. Do it. You watch, it's not going to do it now. Yeah, Magewell 1100. That is that the eBay's second-hand one? Is that the one because I saw two on eBay, but they're in the United States, and I prefer not to be buying eBay stuff internationally. Just waiting for this to misbehave. Pet it. Talk nice to it. Say soothing things and lullabies. Get a shattered 2159 screen, waiting for hot plate to arrive so I can strip it down. When you say strip it down, do you mean like pull out all the various polarizer layers and things like that? Is that what you mean? Yeah, Paul, I did see there was those two, but like I said, I'm not going to bother buying them. I'd rather buy outright brand new or Yeah, just I can get the AR one or Asia one here in Australia for $1,000. So $1,000 for a 4-port HDMI capture. That's not too bad. Or it's about 570 US dollars for me to get a 2-port Magewell through Amazon. Yeah, this is now deciding it does not want to. What gives? Why are you doing this to me, phone? Why? Hey, Suttlebridge. The Blackmagic ones, yes, I have seen that. They're actually cheaper than the Magewells, but they have issues. Lewis did a video a long time ago on the issues with the Blackmagic ones. Put a hammer next to it. How about some solder paste, solder flux? Yeah, by now it usually would have started doing its reboot nonsense. It would just like shut down, start rebooting. Well, all I can really do at this point now is close it back up and see what it does. That's a bit of a normal disappointment. And it hasn't gone anywhere, it's still on the same screen area. So yeah, rather than mess with what isn't misbehaving, I would rather put it back together and let it run for a bit more until I can actually confirm that it's genuinely misbehaving again. Yeah, maybe it was just a bad seating. I mean, and that's unlikely, but you never know. I would definitely say unlikely. These sort of faults are designed to lure you into a false sense of issuing invoices to your customers for work that you don't believe you've done. And then you cross everything on your hands and your feet and your tongue and hope that they don't come back with that fault. Sometimes you just got to get it out of the workshop. Sometimes you just simply go, well, I can't make it misbehave, so I'm sending it out into the wild. Here's the invoice for it. And you know that if something goes wrong, you're going to have to honor that invoice and eat any further expense that you may incur. I'm just going really slow at this. You know, I can go a lot faster when it's a phone that I would work with normally, but something that is not my daily patient, I am going to slow it down. Have I been attacked by mice? No, fortunately not. I do see all the dramas that they are having down south, but fortunately we don't have that issue up here. It could be a tension issue on the flex as well, like as I screw in the retainer screws. You know, maybe it's bending something on the flex. Oh yeah, I have the T2 to look at. Yuck. Okay. Thanks for reminding me. Not a fan of the T2 yet. How would your cats fare against the mice invasion? They would be bored within a few hours. Okay, so that's all reassembled. I'm just trying to think. I'm just going to put it somewhere where I can see it, but yeah, I'm going to have to put it down low, out of the way. It's too risky, and it's too expensive a phone for me to have floating around here. Okay, what are you? You're another 3437. You've got damage up here on the CPU area. Let's see what you've got to say for yourself. Sudi, the problem with the Elgatos is the poor support with Linux. There's definitely some cheaper options for me out there, but with that cheapness definitely comes compatibility issues, quirks and things like that, which I'm already dealing with quirks. And I'm sick of dealing with quirks. Like every time I reboot this machine, I have to go along and reset all of my OBS camera settings. And considering I reboot every day, because I shut this machine down at night, that's well, this actually has a little bit more work on it than what I'd probably. I don't think I'll be letting this one out of the. I'm not going to let this one out of the shop. You'll see why in a second. I remember this one now. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. You do need a wash though. Some boards, even if you can get them to work, you really just don't want to let out of the shop. Yeah, there are certain degrees of damage that I can feel comfortable enough with, like, okay, I've repaired that or whatever. But when you start having rat nest type repairs that we just saw then, that's a little bit too far for me. The only way in which I would normally consider letting that out is if it was a one-off board, and it was explicitly unique for some reason. And then I would probably hot glue and conformal coat the hell out of that. Well, we've got a fan spin. Well, I was about to say it's spinning too long, but it seems to be doing okay. Yeah, Paul, 1500's about right, yeah. If you go to MWave store and you have a look at the AER ones, AJA, they got a 4-port for $1,000 or $999. So that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, Miles, even a loaner, I'd be a little bit disinclined. Only because half the time when you give someone a loaner, they gripe just as much about the issues. Oh, I've got to be back in a second. I've got a hair that's annoying me on my nostril. tickling the top of it. Ah, what are you doing in here? Come here, you little rat. Look, you can have say hello, and then that's about it. Come on, Milo, come here. There you go. See, seems like he's in the habit now of coming in and saying hello to everybody. Huh? Yeah, he stinks a bit at the moment because he's got flea treatment on. Don't you? No? Yeah, come on. Oh, don't be a flip out. Come on. There you go. Oh, you got your leg on my microphone cable. You're a good boy. Right. Yeah, this one's taking a long time to boot. Hmm. No, definitely not open door policy. No. The trouble is that they just sit at the door, and when I open it, they just dash in. Alright, we do have a problem. This is taking way too long to boot. But I'll be honest and say I may be better off just making this a donor. Chances are it's probably a sensor issue. The Milo is one of our rescue. Well, heck, most of our cats are pretty much everyone except one is a rescue. But we had to. He's one of the kittens from the mother that had been kicked or thrown, and they broke her pelvis. We didn't know until she basically dragged herself across the road to us, and because we were feeding her at that point, and all the kittens were over at the other place. And so yeah, when she turned up with a broken pelvis, we took her down to the vet straight away, and we paid the money to get her fixed up. That was moderately expensive, but we just do that sort of thing. And then we had to go get the kittens, and that was fun because we didn't know when these people were going to be home or anything. So we had to stake out the place, and as soon as we thought that there was no one there, we raced in. I had the walkie-talkie. I was in the car ready to facing the way to get out of there. And the leader was racing in. She had the box, and she didn't have the box. She just grabbed the kittens and came running out and towards the car and put the kittens in the box, and boom, we're out of there. But we didn't get them all on the first time, so that was a bit of a problem. We were quite concerned about that because we didn't know what was going to happen to the rest of them. But fortunately, we managed to enlist some animal services people who had a little bit more legal authority, and through them we were able to get the last two kittens that were remaining. So yeah, that was quite an event, but we probably would have gotten into a fair bit of trouble if we'd been caught, but we were going to do it because anyone who kicks or throws a cat to break its pelvis like that, you just want to burn their house down. There's no two ways about it. So I mean, I get it. Some people don't like cats. I understand that, but there's no reason to behave like that towards animals. So anyway, so yeah, Milo is one of the kittens from that group, and Loki is another one, and we still have the mother, which is Luna, as opposed to Lulu, who's another one. But anyway, But yeah, Milo, they've all got their personalities, and he's a funny one. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, it's gone into the. No wonder it was slow. It's doing the password thing. But it's been. Oh no, it's not. What is it? What are you doing? This is. Cancel. Why? I'm not really sure what it's done here. But for a long time, Milo's always been a bit difficult to communicate with. He just would seem in his own world. He wouldn't really connect with you. When you looked at him, it was like there wasn't any sort of communication going on there. But in the last couple of months, I've put some more effort into just trying to be with him, because the little SOB, he had a bad habit. If he wanted to wake me up at night, he would do the diving wake up with claws extended under the duvet, and it'd be just like I would wake up with this agonizing claws going through my toes. So I just had to more and more try and get him to connect with me, and now he doesn't do the diving under duvet claws thing anymore. Instead, he comes up to me and he just sort of like puts his claws over my shoulder, and he's like meow, meow, wakes me up. He just wants biscuits or some attention, and that's it's still a bit of a shock, but not as bad as it used to be. Milo is autistic. We kind of joke about that, but yeah, there was that little bit of a feeling that he actually has that sort of thing, because he's very apt at many things, but the communication just we couldn't get it. But he would always be the first to break out of places. He'd be the first to work out how to open things. He'd be first to work out, all those sort of technical things. But when it came to communicating, he was always the last. But he's getting there now, and he talks to me a lot more, so that's good. And he's learning to use his voice and not his claws. Alright, so this board actually does look like it's okay. What have we got? 1.4 i5. Okay, so it's another entry level 4 gig shutdown. But it is a 3437, so yeah. It does work, but hard to say how well. No, actually it's Micro that's diabetic. Milo, okay, if we're going to get Milo's the communication deficit one, Micro is the insulin deficit one. Subtle differences in the name, big differences in the personalities. And I don't know how we ended up with names so similar. So we've got Milo and Micro, we've got Luna and Lulu. It wasn't intentional, it was just poor planning on our behalf. Rain Cat, yeah, there you are. That's a good one. Fortunately, Milo and Loki, because they are obviously from the same litter, they do really well together. Of course, they do get cranky with each other now and then. You'll hear at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it will be one of them not pleased about the other one being in the mood for a bit of a tackling fight. And it's like, great, thanks guys, wake me up at wee hours in the morning. Really appreciate it. I mean, you just don't get sleep, continuous sleep around here because of the bloomin' cats. And with that said, I still wouldn't change a thing. Alright, given that it boots and everything, I will, as horrible as this is, I will... do I put goo on it or don't I? I'm trying to decide whether it's worth gooing it or not. I remember doing that join, yeah. Oh, well, what the... Okay. That is entirely my fault. And unfortunately, this is what I've got to be careful of, and this is why I have been packing these away in better individual satchels and stuff like that. Because look at this. That there has just been from handling, and I've ruined that trace, all just because I must have stacked it incorrectly. So I will have to fix that up. Yeah, just as boards slide around by accident, you knock things off. That is actually a really severe knock though. But yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that up. Yeah, Brahim, yeah, I don't mind that you were joking about that, but it was just funny in a way because the fact that, well, that is actually what we were thinking. Because he did have a little bit of that, what you would, if he was human, what you might consider to be slightly on the autistic spectrum. I mean, if we're going to have cats with diabetes, then what's to say there aren't other issues that can be like that? Yeah, all of our others behave. We've never had a cat that behaves like how Milo behaves. And we've had a good number of cats. So when we couldn't get this communication thing going on, we were wondering, yeah, that's what we were thinking. It's not to downplay human autism, it's just a case of more making a comparison between the two behavior sets. I mean, obviously there's a lot more to it than just that, but you make these parallels. So I personally wasn't put off by that. Okay, we do have a disconnect between that pad and this here. Now I don't know if that's just a test pad though. I don't have any medical reasons as to why I am the way I am. I suppose if I had to claim something, I guess you could say it was my hearing. Maybe the cat didn't understand the English. True. Though you'd think coming from the same litter as the other ones that you would. Okay, so open circuit basically means that it is broken off, but it also means that there's nothing else connected to it. So 4.7. So we can put the cat back on there and we don't really have to worry about reconnecting that little test pad. It's essentially moot. I think each to their own in terms of what animals you like. Like I said, I have no problem with people who don't like cats, but I do have a problem with people who decide to who think that not liking cats or any other animal means they have a free license to be abusive towards them. I think that's the fundamental issue, is that by all means don't like a particular type of animal, or people for that matter, but it doesn't mean you get to be abusive. Live and let live, as it were. I'm not saying anyone was like that here, I'm just talking about in society. Oh, Miles, no, come on, I actually quite like spiders. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get creeped out by the big ones when they crawl all over you. I mean, yeah. Like you put a 4-inch huntsman or 5-inch huntsman on me and yeah, I'll squirm. But I do like spiders in general. Like there was one crawling all over me today, but it was just a little itty bitty jumping spider. And those things, they are so full of personality. A bit like, you know when you get praying mantises, and you look at the praying mantis and think, man, you have got a lot of personality in that head of yours. Right up until they get their heads eaten off. Okay, I'm a little bit worried there's a tear in that trace. Now, Yummy Stock, you're going to, I remember your name was one that I asked you to change. And yeah. See, now, I know people joke about that, but sometimes it does get a little bit too close to too much reality, particularly what I'm dealing with around in this town. So you may get some triggered reactions going. Yeah, it's definitely on the verge of tearing. Yeah, potatoes, we have that kind of crap behaviour here too. And honestly, it's the sort of thing I would willingly stamp out the humans on that account. I mean, half the problem is if they're doing that to animals, they're going to do it to humans too sooner or later. There's a fairly strong correlation that goes on there. Yellow jackets. If anyone knows the comic book series Foot Rot Flats, then I basically behave like Cooch in that series. I mean, even to the point where the other year when I had that cockroach get into my ear and it was absolute agony and everything, after that was all sorted out, I felt bad for the roach because of the fact that I had to kill it because I had to put oil into my ear to get it out, and it killed it, and I felt bad for that roach. So yeah, I'm a bit quirky like that, I guess. I mean, it wasn't specifically the roach's fault, it was just looking for a comfortable, warm, dark place, and I was just unfortunately blessed to be the comfortable, dark, warm place. Your cats are like horse. Yeah, cats and horses do have kind of similar, frustrating, annoyances. Interesting, cats and horses do generally get along quite well. Not so much dogs with horses. Not always. But to be fair, I suspect horses know that they can be seriously damaged by dogs. Whereas cats are probably more of a like, what are you going to do, little kitty cat? Yeah, nothing. That's what. Alright, so we fixed that up there. That should hold nicely. Oh, the cat horse, right, oh yeah. Still always feel sorry for horse. At least in the end, when they did bring an end to horse in Foot Rot Flats, they made it that, you know, the other characters felt the loss, so that was really good. So for as terrifying as horse was, there was still the understanding that, you know, he was just being him and so on and so forth. What is this abomination here? Oh, it's just a bit of flux. Right, well that's going to have to go back into the ultrasonic, which means I won't be putting the conformal coat on. You got an orphan raccoon. Now that is very cool. Very cool. I do love raccoons. I know Chris Long also I think has had raccoons. Okay, we're going to lose the camera for a second here. I need to switch a cable around. I hate it when my routing is incorrect. Hopefully the camera comes back. Keith, funnily enough it didn't. No. What is interesting though is the aftermath from all this. Straight away the coalition has basically got on saying that, see what happened to that coal plant? That's why we need to build more coal plants. And then people were going on about how because there was the $15,000 a megawatt hour spot price cost due to the demand that occurred from the loss, people started saying, look, that's the cost of the renewable generation. You know, it costs you $15,000 per megawatt hour for renewable energy. And it's like, no, that's not it. That's just, it's like, you can't debate with those people. Now, the other thing was that people were sort of also going on about how the batteries, if we did have batteries, they wouldn't last us more than a few minutes, maybe an hour at tops. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's correct, but that's not the purpose of the batteries. The battery is there to stabilize the network in time for, if you do require it, like the gas turbine to fire up or something else to come in and take its place, because none of the physical generators can come up to speed and maintain the network stability in the milliseconds that are required. And that's why you have to why you have these cascading shutdowns across the network, because there's no stability if they keep it up. And that's where the battery can stay things. But yeah, it's really frustrating dealing with these people who seem to make these very simple connections that are incorrect connections. And yeah, they get up there and they're like, oh, did you see that? And so you just want to smack those people. And unfortunately, yeah, they make up a good portion of the voter base. But at least throughout it all, in spite of everything, that market is growing, and it's still growing. Like, it's just growing. How can I put it? The growth itself is growing, and I really think that most of the time when you see companies or whatever either trying to push down that market or promote their own, it's because a lot of people still have a lot of investments in the older style of energy generation, and they're just trying to offload those investments at a higher price so they can get into the new one, because in the end it's all about profit, really. But yeah, it's just, and it's quite interesting to see a lot of those people say about how people don't understand the electricity network, and it's like, well, actually, by your comments, it seems that you don't. But what am I looking at a donor board with a shot hole through, a drill hole through it? Yeah. We all hit the spam. Oh, right. Oh, another gaming one. Really? I've just got to block gaming. Like, if I see gaming in the name, it's just got to be blocked. I think that's what it's come to. Okay, how about something a little bit different? Actually, what have I got here? This one here, I'm not sure what's going on. Hi, Paul. Someone changed the battery and charging it. Still won't charge. Put mine back in. Card down, Gmail, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is bad. Very bad. I have a phone here that someone has sent to me, and I don't understand. I have a feeling that I may have already actually finished this job, but it happened before I moved over to the new job system, so I can't. Oh, it's a local bloke too. Well, local as in Townsville. I'm almost certain that this phone works. I'm almost certain I've fixed it, but I don't know why it's not back with him. And by the way, the iPhone 11 Pro, it hasn't restarted since. So I'm wondering if in fact it was just a slightly off connector. Groove Dodger, okay, take care. Oh jeez, what is with the gamer retards? Sorry, my apologies to people who have genuine limitations in life. You are superior to these people because you are actually a proper human being. I hate it when I have these jobs lying around. It's like you're cleaning up your workbench or something and you go, where did this come from? And then you have the panic and thinking, did I just miss this whole time? Nope, this one's got a problem still. 1.8. What's going on? It's been removed. Damn it, where's Cass Phone when I need him? Jack Eugen? Cass Phone! Where are you guys? You guys sent this one to me. Andre. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Andre, yes. Yeah, because I mean, we do sort of use these terms fairly loosely, but I think it's the intent more than anything else that's behind the term that matters. Anyway, it still doesn't let you get away with saying some things. Yeah, I'm just going to go through my job logs and see if I can find out what's going on with this one. Sorry about this, folks. Please stand by. Ooh, I got paid 66. Bah. That's a shitty day of work. Only $66. It really was a crappy day today. Actually, this week's been crappy as well, and I still don't have my TV. It's like I'm not even a big TV person, but this is getting out of hand. Trying to send a message to this person and see if it shows up in my list. Ooh, yeah, I do. Okay. Oh, right, okay, so the fault was located and fixed, as in there was a shorted part on the board, but the data had been corrupted. And there's no data accessible. It was due because the fault was causing it to constantly fail, so it was some sort of boot loop. Oh, I did a 3-hour live stream attempting the repair. And what the hell? Fortunately, they got most of it from the iCloud. Weird. Okay, so there's nothing for me to do this one but send it back, and I don't know why I have. This is the very disappointing side of me at the moment, that I'm making these sort of mistakes and such. To be fair, a lot of it was happening at a time when... let's see, I've even got the sticker on it. Damn. A lot of it was happening on the time when I was trying to deal with the house, and then of course my father, things like that. So yeah, these jobs kind of got left in the no man's land, which is not good, again, because really I try not to let business have these things encroach on it, because I myself, you know, if I hire someone to do something, I don't want to be hearing about what's going on behind the scenes. I know that sounds a little cold and callous, but you know, I think you try to have that human side, but at the same time, after a while, you do just want the job done. Okay, so that one's a dud. You can get that off the list. Let's see, I've got an iPad here. Holy hell, that's a nasty iPad. A1567. Don't think I've ever had one of these. Ah. Picnic error. What's that, Travis? Problem is... what? Half amp. Okay, display is... okay, I don't know if that display is damaged or what. It seems like it's more like a rolling display, so I don't think it's the display is actually crack damage. Or rather, it's something else. So we'll get the... I mean, the touch is obviously jacked. But I have a feeling this is liquid damage. I don't even know what that is. Come on, give me the power. I have on a couple, I mean, on my main workstation, which is an iMac, 27-inch iMac, yes, I use Ubuntu. There's a couple of things that it won't pick up, but overall it works pretty good. Oh, mother frick, what the frickin' frick just went through my finger? Flip. Yeah, it made me bleed too. Alright. God damn it. Someone mentions blood and all of a sudden I'm bleeding. Yeah, a bit of broken glass, definitely. Always hurts more than diabetes test. Oops. Okay, the best way to get blood off things is actually cold water. Don't ever attack blood with cleaning agents or anything like that. Cold water, that's all you need. If you attack blood with anything hot or denaturing, you will regret it. It will coagulate, it will denature, and it will be near impossible to get out. But cold water, on the other hand, does a spectacular job of getting blood out of things. No, isopropyl, it will make the blood difficult to get out. Like I said, cold water. Just use cold water. It's the simplest way to get blood out. No, it's, well, yeah, I mean, there's some experience in it, but, you know, I've had to clean up a fair share of it in my time, as do most people. And, yeah, it really is the simplest way to get blood out. Women learn that from a young age. Teresa. Yeah, that's true. Teresa's quite right on that point. Okay, so we've flipped this over. Yeah, that was nasty. Now, the only trouble is I don't know where the flexes are on this one. So I don't know whether they're there or there. So we'll assume either. Yeah, that's okay. Damn it, where's my crazy set of blades? This is a data recovery job. It's not so I don't need to preserve anything. Yeah, I mean, I've already just broken that a bit more because I got a bit too pushy with it. Yeah, thanks about the glasses. Forgot about that. Thanks. Normally I've got these. They sit quite close to my eyes, so they work pretty good as safety effect. I didn't really feel a flex down there, so I am hoping it's down on this other side. But like I said, if I do damage the flex, it's not a great issue because this is data recovery. I do hate it when the glass splits like this though. And so you get one segment done, but then when you lift it up, it doesn't carry through to the next segment. Crack. Okay, we usually have the Wi-Fi down here. Something's... Okay, around about this time I can get a look and see what's going on. Oh, you're pulling the display up as well? Is this... Are these a fused display unit? I don't think they are they? Why is the display coming out with it? You're shitting me. Sorry, language. I didn't realise these were a fused display unit. Huh. Well, in that case it might be repairable after all. Yeah, I'm having to attack this from the underside. That home button's looking a tad interesting. Okay. Just putting a bit of alcohol on the tip of the plastic razor, it works really nicely. It's kind of like if you ever have filleted fish and things like that. It's that sort of effect. Alright. Yeah. And this has been replaced before by someone called Crazy. I'll just see Crazy on the stickers. But yeah, I was genuinely expecting the usual sort of split display slash digitizer. I didn't realise they'd had a model. I knew the newer ones were like that, or could be like that. I didn't think the older ones were, because this is moderately old. I have to add it to my list of ones I maybe don't mind fixing. I don't know. Or is there a trick in the details here? Is it going to be like the iPhone, the minis where you got to resolder the home button flex? Okay, we haven't torn it, don't panic. $15.67. What is this? AirPad. Oh, Air 2. Alright. No. Damn it. I've still got this weird fault. Yeah, maybe someone can help me here. I have a strange fault with my Google account and with Chrome. And this is a brand new install, this machine, and I just synchronized. There's nothing on this machine from the previous one in terms of accounts. But if I go, so like I want the iPad Air 2, so like I want to just click this, but nothing happens because it just goes straight through down to the bottom layer of the screen of the HTML. But if I, so like iPad Air, if I right click first and then click, it works. So you tell me what's going on there. Okay, what are we looking at? 139 bucks. That's a high copy. Well, it looks like we can't get the better ones. I prefer to get the most expensive screen I can. And it would seem they do not have stock. So you have to get the hard copy instead. So 139, so I would probably charge 229, 239 for this job. I know, I can hear people screaming. Sunny would be celebrating, but funnily enough, this is where it's funny. Sunny would charge maybe only $50 or $30 for this swap, but I'll charge $100. But he wants me to shove flexboard you up to 290 or something like that, I imagine. I don't know. So it is funny how different areas we have different sensitivities to discounting or profiteering. Yeah, that button's sort of come out of its little resting spot. Right, so I guess I just need to get a replacement assembly for that. That's nice to know. As you can tell, that was my first Air. At least it seems to be a more simplified version of doing things. Shame they didn't make it like this on all the other iPads. And with the minis, I mean, what the hell? Why'd they make those so murderously bad to work on? Oh, you want to change the screen? Here you go. You need to solder everything. There's a bit of cleaning up here to do on this one, but in terms of liquid damage, this one seems to be a... wait, no, there's liquid damage. Travis, I don't really. The only thing I will tend to use... Ew, that's... What is that next to? The only thing I tend to use are seal break liquid on screws, which basically is nail polish. And that's not so much to claim against the customer, but I'm just more curious if people have been stuffing around with things. I mean, let's face it, most of the time, the things that we're working on... Why is there hot glue on there? Has Soren been here? Yeah, it's different to sort of putting a warranty sticker on, say, a PC. That, you know, if you open up the case, its warranty is void. Yeah, that's dodgy. Yeah, Leslie, under normal circumstances, everything just works fine. But every now and then, this quirk comes up. And doesn't... It's something... It's an account setting somewhere. And I have no idea what it is. And we get the creative thinking types commenting on what they think that stuff looks like. Yeah, I don't know what they thought they were using as glue here, and the other thing is they've really butchered it actually. You can see all the attempts to forcibly get it separated. Not that I can talk, I mean I haven't done any of these ones before, but yeah, that ain't pretty. It's like they've used, I think they've used B7000 on this. That's what it looks like to me. Dried up old B7000. I've got no extensions. It's just pure, fresh, new Chrome installation. Google Chrome install, the very latest. Nothing else on the operating system. The only thing I've done is synchronize, and I have no extensions. I don't believe in extensions. Yeah, this is, I'm pretty sure this is B7000 glue that's dried up. And all that's going to have to be cleaned up before I drop a new screen in there. Ah, what a pain. It happens on every single site, Leslie. Every single site. And it just, one night, it just started happening. And I was like, damn it, not this crap again. It's not the first time it's happened to me. All I know is it's extraordinarily frustrating and no one seems to have a clue. Got that sweet angle on the cut here. It's like when you finally get the scissors to cut right on paper and stuff, and it just glides through. It actually looks like there's been two jobs here. Because on the outside, you got this more yellowy B7000. On the inside, it's, then again, maybe it's just simply exposure to liquids on the outside. But it wouldn't surprise me if someone just simply slapped on some more B7000 for a second job. No, I'm blocking nothing. That's the thing. It is stock standard Chrome. I don't change any of the settings. I don't disable anything. And it just does this. And I don't know what it is, and it drives me insane. And it's not hardware acceleration or... yeah. All I know is it's something in my account, but I don't know what it is. And it's obviously something that gets carried in with the sync. But what gets me is, like, why would there even be anything that would give that kind of behavior in the first place? Especially too that when you do the right click, it behaves properly. It would make more sense to me that it was a deliberate setting if you right clicked and then it still didn't still didn't respond correctly. But the fact that when you right click it seems to like reset its brain and it sees the layer properly, that's just weird. I do believe vanilla without sync, it will be fine. And yeah, I'm watching out for the battery. It's a short blade, and I'm holding it with a protective over my thumb sort of thing. It's like, um, oops. Yeah, so like my thumb is basically, what the, yeah. My thumb is, protecting the bulk of the blade there. I have put in a support request, or just a community support request with the Chrome community group. So who knows? I might get some answers out of that. Like I said, it's just weird because that is not what you would consider, or not what I would consider, to be behavior that you would even have an on-off ability for. It's kind of like ignore all layers or ignore something. Just install Chrome, reboot, reinstall. No, I've done that. That's the thing. I formatted this entire machine. The machine was absolutely, completely, utterly replaced in terms of software. And the only thing I did was I put in my user account, enabled sync, and when the sync finished, the behavior returned. It's no, because again, like I said, it's not an intermittent mouse issue there, because it happens on multiple computers. It's now happening on my MacBook, not my MacBook, my iMac station. It's happening on this station, and it happens at the same time. So it's nothing to do with the mouse. And the fact that I'm fairly sure it doesn't misbehave this way if I'm not logged into my account. It's something in the settings with Chromium. Not Chromium, Chrome. I mean, I wish it was something like, hey, it's your mouse, because yeah, that'd be a nice easy fix. No trouble swapping a mouse. But it's not, alas, it is not. And also, this workstation and the iMac workstation, they are running different versions of Ubuntu. So it's not even the distro update version. At the most, it might be a Chrome version issue. But I have in the past, when I've encountered this, downgraded to an earlier Chrome. Damn you, Chromium. And it still doesn't fix the issue. So it seems that once it gets latched in, you can't get it out. Yeah, I definitely don't want to nuke all my passwords. There's just way too many to remember now. Honestly, most of the cost in these jobs with iPads is the bloody cleanup. And I just noticed there's a pimple on the battery. Boop, that battery's going to have to be replaced. And that one looks like it vented a couple of months ago. Nah, I'm sorry. I'm not in that don't give out the information type thing. I really, I've got less. Yeah, this is the internet, for God's sake. For all you know, your ISP is probably more likely to hijack your data. Oh man, they got the flippin' glue down in here. I'm more of a Jessa Jones in that respect. I know that drives Lewis absolutely bonkers mad. The whole privacy thing, trust. Too much implied faith in companies like Google and Apple. And I mean, yeah, he's got a point, but you also at some point you gotta make your own personal choice of where you want to lie on that risk equation. And at the end of the day, as long as you're comfortable with it and you are aware of what could happen, then yeah. The phone fixed. No, the phone's not fixed. The phone was... I did fix it before, but found that it was already corrupted, the data, which was unfortunate. Anyway, what we're fixing here is an iPad Air 2. And all we're doing is really just removing all the awful amount of junk that's in it. I see a lot of places that reinstall screens on iPhones when they're this caked up. If you're into things like Dr. Pimple Popper and stuff, then this is probably satisfying too. Sick perverts. No, just kidding. What I do, however, do is always keep copies of printed documents, vital printed documents, and certain amounts of cash in undisclosed locations. And certainly not on the premises, because that would just be a little bit dumb. I know there's plenty of people who sort of like, they like to advertise and say, I got heaps of money and it's in my safe. And you're like, you idiot. A few days later, I got robbed. And you're like, uh-huh. And you wonder why. See, now that's a more realistic risk assessment in my opinion. Or you get the people that flash their cash on Facebook or something like that, being all gangster-like, and then they get a visit. And people relieve them of their cash. Crikey, this one's got a lot of junk on it. This is our second lap around. So they got all the glue right down in these recesses here. It's like, yep, fantastic. Bravo. Set up on a honeypot and give them something to play with. That is one of the sort of things I used to enjoy doing. Setting up honey traps for spammers. And then that way you get to know what the spammers are going to be spamming. And you can add it to your filter lists. And so they barely get anywhere. Now, one thing I haven't ever done is an iPad type battery replacement. So I guess the question is, how much agony am I in for? I'm definitely going to be able to wash this bench up. Yeah, how traumatically difficult is it to get the batteries out of these ones? Because I'll put the power on and start heating it up at least. Let's see, battery, 25 bucks. Okay, so it's not too expensive, just a case of responsibly removing it. Yep, definitely going to have a good wash down after this. And you can guarantee that whatever all that nasty stuff was, it is nasty. I mean, this thing's probably been used in, well, places where people sit and ponder. Thank goodness for gloves. I don't believe these ones have pull tabs. I can't see any. There's no fold up or anything. So, yeah, but it's definitely got a rupture there. Sort of my going for a just to shuck them out. Shuck it out with alcohol. Use the good old shucker. Shucker, 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 shucker. It reminds me of a song from the 2000s. Was it Clint Eastwood? Who sang that? Some weird monkeys group or something. I just remember there being weird cartoon drawing clips. IPA, hey? Well, if we're going to be using IPA, I should probably shut that down. Zippo fluid, I prefer not to. Me and Zippo fluid don't always get along. Bloodhound Gang, no, that didn't they do Bad Touch? What do you call it? Do It Like Animals? Yeah, that's Bloodhound Gang, yeah. Gorillas, that's it, Gorillas, yes, thank you. I never understood why the song was called Clint Eastwood, though. Or maybe it wasn't, I'm just imagining things. Yeah, IPA is the trick I can feel. Getting a little high on the alcohol, making me drunk and singing on YouTube. Actually, given that it's IPA, that's probably a really bad thing. Ethanol would be a vastly superior, safer option. But no. Okay, gotta make sure I don't rupture whatever's above that battery pack. There we go. It's attached to the board still. Battery contacts are glued too, you kidding me? What do you mean glued? Like, why can't I just lift that up? What's the deal? Damn these iPads. Yeah, what's the deal? I mean, they got a screw there. Why put a screw there if it's already bound down? How do you get this out? Let's just yank it really hard and that'll totally fix things. Seriously, what's the deal? Mark, let me give you a demonstration of what the issue is. Now, to be clear, this happens on all the machines that have, all the Ubuntu machines that have got synchronization to my Google account. It doesn't matter which version it is. It just seems to be a setting in my account, synchronization. Anyway, let me switch over and show you. So fundamentally, so like I go to iPhone, it brings up, and normally when you click on one of these, you would expect it to, activate on that. But if I do this, what's going to happen is it will actually, the click event will go through to the bottom layer, and it's actually going to do nothing. But, like I clicked and nothing happened there. But if I right click first, shift over, then click, it will work. And the other thing is, let's see if I can do it. Like here, if I click this right now, that click event will actually be ignored by the pop-up menu there and go through to that screen like that. And there you are, see? So for whatever reason, it is ignoring the topmost or the top layer that you're looking at for handling the click event, and the click event instead falls through to the bottom layer. And look, it's not a JavaScript error, it's nothing like that. I can go to this site on my any other device and on a Chrome installation that's not synchronized with my account, and it will work. But as soon as I'm using my account on this, that's when and I've turned off hardware acceleration, I said that before, same thing. And it's not pop-up blocked. I've got no, what do you call it? I've got no plugins, nothing. This is bog stock standard, straight out of the box Chrome, latest Chrome, and all I've done is synchronized with my account. Anyway, what we're talking about, this problem, I'm dealing with the real one, which is my microscope situation here. I don't believe it will. No, but well, for a start, I can't synchronize it. If I could find a way to open an instance here of Chrome without using my account, it will work. And no, it's not my left and right click swap or anything like that. No, I'm a standard. Everything is standard. I know I'm sounding like I'm getting frustrated because I am. Everything is standard, bog stock standard. And it all worked perfectly fine before. And then all of a sudden, one day, all my machines running on that synchronized account will start doing this behavior. Incognito, I believe, does it too, but I'll try. Thank you for at least suggesting that. Thank you. One good suggestion there. Incognito, easy fix, but I don't know if that, okay. Let's see, iPhone. No, interesting, even in incognito it's doing it. If I could launch it as another user, that would be the real test. It happened about 3 weeks ago now, yeah. Anyway, I need to get this out. How am I getting this out? Google implemented the FLAC algorithm, but that's audio decoding. I can't see how that has... It is something to do with the settings in my account. There's a setting somewhere in the actual Google settings, not in the local one. I mean, I know the local stuff gets imported down, yeah, brought down from Google. And yeah, so it just propagates to all of my machines. Yeah, I've done Google updates, like, yeah, it does the normal, it comes up and it says it wants to be updated. Hey, Daniel Eckland. Funnily enough, I used to use Firefox until it just kept busting everything that I was using, and I was like, that's it. And I gotta admit, I do kind of like Google's sync facility because it just works over everything. Sorry, I'm long since been a hardcore computer security person or anything like that. I'm done with all that. I mean, maybe the upgrade caused it, but then why is it propagated to the other versions? That's the thing, you know. I mean, obviously, yeah, the sync keeps everything in sync, so I guess the question is what got changed and why can't I get this damn battery thing off? Undo the logic board tab and lift the battery tab. Ah, okay, thanks, Mark. Yeah. Yeah, but Firefox, no, I'm happy enough with Chrome these days. Like I said, I used to use Firefox all the time. I was a big Firefox advocate, but then, honestly, the bastards left me high and dry too many times, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. The people in charge of Mozilla Firefox and everything like that just need a good kick up the backside, the money taken away from them. Stop screwing around with the browser with stupid updates and things that no one really cares about. All you guys are doing is just having a great big circle jerk of how brilliant you aren't. And just get back to making a browser that works nicely, you know. And it all really went to hell once they implemented that Zool user interface system. And yeah, it's fine now. We've got the performance to deal with it, but back then it was like, oh boy, you know, we just lost a huge amount of performance from thanks to Zool. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I was a huge advocate of Firefox. I was going around doing everything I could to make sure people were using it and things like that. And then they just dumped that crap on us, and it was like, that's it. And so yeah, I went to Chrome. Yeah, Mark, very angry. Especially the amount of money that they get. Okay, how is this logic board even... The logic board's glued down? Because I can't see too many screws on them. Yeah, I mean the website, the EasyFix website is fine, and it will happen on every website I go to. That went up my nose. Anything that has that sort of, you know, hover over menu, things like that, Even the tax website does it to me. So it's nothing to do with the website. Seriously, well, they've glued this? They've glued the circuit boards down. Slightly adhered. That's a funny way of saying very adhered. It was just a shame because I remember Firefox right back from when it was actually Phoenix, and everybody was getting in. We're all getting this new browser. We finally got our sort of Mozilla off Netflix, not Netscape. This was back when you had to compile in your own secure socket layers, SSL stuff, so you could go to banking sites. We're talking like the early mid-90s sort of thing. And it was great. We were finally getting this browser that really did a good job. And then comes sort of, I suppose, it really started to rot at around about 2008 or something like that. And then it just started to go, they were getting too much money, I feel. And they were just trying to justify having all this money by just creating these obscure things for Firefox. And it was like, you're wasting the money with silly stuff. And meanwhile, Chrome comes out and starts taking your market. And that's pretty much it. Chrome has taken the Firefox market. And Firefox has only got themselves to blame, in all honesty. Just like I've got myself to blame for not being able to work out why the heck this thing is stuck down and I can't get it to lift. Oh, Netscape was better than IE at the time. But I mean, of course, Microsoft was smart. They knew what they were doing. Okay, here we go. Finally, the temperature picked up around here, and felt a. There we go. Right. Probably not the healthiest for the circuit board, but hey. Alright, so we're going to need a new battery. Battery, what a terrible way of saying battery. And new screen assemblies. So they're probably going to be up for around about $250. Kind of not really worth it, is it? For an iPad Air 2. Is it? Is $250 worth it? Because that's about what I'll charge. Nice to see that this does not cause the stickers to go black. That's nice. Opera, yeah, I used to use Opera too. Yep. I bought a couple of licenses of that. So yeah, I mean, I'm always been a big supporter of when these companies bring out stuff. And they need a bit of whatever, but yeah, Mozilla Firefox group, they lost my support because of their well, in my opinion, of course, just their reluctance to stay focused on the job. Instead, they just wanted to stuff around and create. So they're trying to be too much of a market director. They're trying to set the trends with things. And I get it. You do have to kind of take that approach. But at the same time, it doesn't mean dropping the standard of your existing position. I'm just ranting and rambling, I'm sorry. And this is not cutting it literally. Yeah, I got the battery, I got the circuit board lifted up. That is not getting under that adhesive. Interesting adhesive. I think it's fair to say pretty much all companies are evil by default. Especially if a company tells you that they're not evil. But most startups, most companies go through the whole same metamorphosis process. Use freeze spray on it. Yeah, I was thinking of that. Now you have the battery out, scrap the iPad. Huh, yeah. Yeah, everything starts out as being the underdog that then gains the traction, that then becomes the standard, that then becomes a little bit corrupted, that then becomes entirely corrupted, and then becomes usurped, whatever, by another newcomer. It's just the way it goes. It's a cycle of business. And so, yeah, someday I'm going to get my lunch taken from me. It's actually probably already happening anyway. I've just noticed this is getting better as this is cooling down. Money or power, one or the other. Sometimes interchangeable, not always. Money can buy you power, power can get you money. Yeah, as this is cooling down, it's actually getting easier to scrape it off. So the problem was it was just simply too hot. So I might leave that until the morning. Alright, oh crikey, it's 12:30 already. Okay, I better finish up. It's been a bit of a dilly-dallying sort of session tonight. Didn't really achieve tremendous amount, but at least we got to play on the insides of an iPad 2 Air. And I don't know, let's see if that Pro 11 is still okay. I think it's actually, no, it's still there, so it might have just been a connection that was a bit off. So yeah, fixed it. Yeah. Alright. I'm sorry, NL, but if you're going to sleep in after a hard night of partying, then that's what happens. You miss out. So I am out of here. Until next time, hopefully I'll get some deliveries tomorrow, because by God, the delivery system sucks lately. I have not had any good session of machines coming in, even though I have got the jobs on the queue. They're all saying pending to arrive, but I'm not getting any deliveries, so it's starting to get me a little bit paranoid. Alright, I'm out here. You all take care. Thanks for sticking around, and I'm glad to see at least we have got the machine up and running again, and I'm not looking too blue tonight, which is also good. Until next time, catch you later.